You know, there are two things that are true about you and I. Every day that we live, we come into that day as an individual who is either going to be guided by their mind or their emotions. Now, you are your strongest when your mind and your emotions are working together. But yet, for many of us, that's a rarity. Because during the day, we can fluctuate from our mind being in control to our emotions being in control. But here's the interesting thing about that. Every day of your life is filled with choices. And you will make choices throughout your day. Now, what that choice means to your life and what that choice will bring to your life is all about whether the choices are being made from your emotions or from your mind. Because normally we make our choices through our emotions. And then at some point we allow our mind to kick in. And that's sometimes where the battle comes in. And folks, one of the most debilitating emotions that you and I ever deal with is fear. You know that I take on a certain amount of people and I'm their mentor for 1 year in their life. And they bring me into their life because they're stuck, because they're struggling and they're not sure what to do with the struggles. So they reach out to me, and I don't come into their life as a coach. I come into their life as a mentor, someone who enters their life to take them back to the center point of life, where they have the clarity, the calmness, and the confidence to make those decisions. The majority of the time when I'm working with someone, one of the first things I've got to discover is what are their fears? Because fear is an emotion that can hold you hostage. Fear is an emotion that can paralyze you. Fear is a part of you that lives inside of you. And so what I do is I separate the fearful person from the confidence person. Now, how do I do that? If I was working with me, Richard, what I would do is I would have the confident person named Richard. I would have the fearful person named Ricky. Now, why do I do that? Because when you put a name to a part of that personality, it brings a different set of understandings. So when I talk to people, I ask people, am I talking to Richard or am I talking to Ricky? And if I'm talking to Ricky, then I know that I'm working through a negative side of their life at that moment. If I'm talking to Richard, I know that I'm dealing with a confident part of their life. And many times if I was talking to Ricky, I would tell Richard, I don't want to talk to Ricky. I want to talk to Richard. And when I can get them to take a breath and see the difference between being the confident Richard or the fearful Ricky, I can get them to slow down and look at who's making their choices in their life. There's no way to explain to you the power that fear can have in your life. And this is why I've chosen our subject for today, because this subject is very, very important to me. Controlling the fears in your life. You're human, folks, and you're going to have fears. So here's our awakening. Fear is a natural part of life. You understand that? But you can't run from fear. I meet a lot of people who are trying to run away from their fears. You can't run away from fear. Why? Because it's a natural emotion that the human life is going to experience. You can't get rid of fear. You can't open the door and kick it out of your life. Fear is always going to be present in your life. Why? Because you're human and fear is a natural part of your life. It's a natural emotion. But here's the great news. You can learn to control the aspect or the effect that fear has on your life. You actually can learn to control fear. And that's what I want us to focus on today. I want us to understand parts of fear. And then I want to be able to show you the 5 steps to learning to control the fear in your life. But let's lay a foundation first. You know my propensity for wanting to define words. So here are the words that are important to me today. Control. You making the decisions for your own life. You see, not every decision you make is because that's your decision. It could be a decision that you're making because of someone else. And that's their opinion for what you need to do with your life. So you make the decision, but it's actually a choice you make. But the decision is what you've allowed someone else to be the answer for what you're struggling with in your life. Risk. Trusting yourself enough to step forward, even if you don't know what is there. Now, are you a risk taker? Are you willing to make decisions even if you can't see the future? Are you one of these people that you need to have all the answers before you make a decision? And if you need to have all the answers before you make a decision, you won't make decisions. Risk is about trusting and believing in yourself. It's trusting yourself enough to step forward, even if you don't know what's in front of you. Fear. An emotion that can either paralyze you or free you to have control in your life. Yes, there are 2 aspects of fear. There is negative fear and there's positive fear. And we're going to learn the difference between the 2. Doubt, the sidekick of fear, which causes you to mistrust and second guess yourself. You ever do that? You ever say, this is what I'm going to do, and all of a sudden doubt comes into your life and it makes you question, well, maybe this is not what I should be doing. And every time that you second guess your decision, you strengthen the fear in your life. Worry. Now, I'm sure none of you ever worry. A dark cloud that makes you doubt yourself. So that means that worry and doubt must go together. A dark cloud that makes you doubt yourself and won't allow you to see forward. So you're paralyzed in the darkness. I mean, there are times in life when worry just takes over our life. And the stronger worry is in your life, the stronger doubt and the more your fear increases. Uncertainty. Standing at a crossroad of decision and not being sure which direction to go because of your doubt and your worry. You ever stood at the point of making a decision and you just weren't sure? You didn't have the confidence and the clarity. So doubt increased, which then made you worry more. So what do we do a lot of times? We sit down and paralyze ourselves because fear is the guiding emotion that you're dealing with. Positive fear. The part of fear that slows you down and doesn't paralyze you. Now, keep this in mind. The part of fear that slows you down and doesn't paralyze you. But what about negative fear? The part of fear that paralyzes you and fills you with doubt, worry, and uncertainty. Folks, in life, emotions are always a part of a day of our life. The challenge is we never really get to deal with one emotions, because I've learned over the years of working with human behavior that emotions travel in threes. And this is what makes them so challenging to deal with. Because you will never go through a time of doubt that it won't create worry. You'll never go through a time in life when doubt and worry have become partners. And so what do they bring with them? Uncertainty. And when doubt, worry, and uncertainty form the process for you making choices, making decisions, you'll find that you are paralyzed. So, every decision you make is made from either a foundation of belief or fear. And the result is the controller gets to plan the journey. Now, if I make that decision from the foundation of strong beliefs, where I trust in myself and I have faith in me, I will find that the three emotions that come out of that are a calmness, a sense of clarity, and the confidence that, yes, I can. But if I make that decision from a foundation of negative fear, I will find that the three emotions that come out of that are me doubting myself, me worrying about whether this is the right decision or not, or me feeling so uncertain that I'm just paralyzed and I don't know what to do. Every decision you make is made from either a foundation of belief or fear, and there is a result to every decision. The result here is whoever wins the battle, whether it's Richard, who believes in himself, or Ricky, who is fearful. Whichever one of those two win the battle, they get control of your life. Now, you've been there. You've been through this. You've gone through times when there was something you really wanted. And for a moment, you really believed in yourself. And at that time, Richard was in control. But all of a sudden, that ugly emotion of negative fear comes in. And Ricky begins to question Richard. And Ricky begins to cause Richard to doubt. Ricky causes Richard to worry about what he's about to do. Ricky causes Richard to feel uncertain. And because most of us are more logical than we are thinkers, who do you think wins the battle a large amount of the time? In my life, it's Ricky. It would be Ricky. So, this battle between Richard and Ricky, why is it that so many people are not willing to face their fear? Folks, it's an everyday part of life. It's something you'll deal with your entire life. Fear is always present in the human life. So why is it we know the fear is there? And why is it that so many people are unwilling to face their fear? It's too frightening. Do you understand how strong fear can be in a human life? And the stronger the fear, the stronger the doubt. The stronger the fear, the stronger the worry. The stronger the fear, the more uncertain you become. And when you're paralyzed, everything looks too frightening. So what do? This is not a good time. I shouldn't make this decision right now. And at that particular time, Ricky won. Emotions surrounding fear are all negative. You see, when fear is a negative part of your life, it throws all these other negative emotions at you. Doubt, when it's attached to negative fear, is negative. Worry, when it's attached to negative fear, is negative. Uncertainty, when it's attached to negative fear, is what paralyzes you. Why are so many not willing to face their fear? A past they never dealt with. I'll say this to you again later. All fear comes from yesterday. There's no fear in today until you bring it into today from yesterday. All fear in your life comes from yesterday. It comes from events, situations in your life that you've never dealt with, that you've never worked yourself through. And when I'm unwilling to face my fear grows. Why are so many not willing? Running away is their way of dealing with life. You have no idea how many people spend every day of their life running away from their life. It's not they don't know what they need to deal with. It's not that they don't know what to do. It's just running away is easier. And how do we run? We run through blame. We run through excuses. We run through justifications. We avoid. And anything that we avoid in the form of negative fear just gets stronger in our life. Fear that is not faced will not only own you, but take control of your life. When I'm working with some of the people I work with, one of the things that we constantly have to deal with is them not willing to face their life with honesty. Folks, fear is a natural part of life. But if you avoid it, you strengthen it. If you strengthen it, you increase it in your life. And you can take fear to such a point that it will actually take control of your life and you are paralyzed. So, what do most people do with their fear? Find a reason to avoid it. If I came to your life and you and I sat down and I was to ask you questions about your life, would I find any fear in your life that's sort of making you a hostage or holding you as a hostage that you're avoiding? Every time you avoid fear, you increase it. Enable it to become stronger. What do people do with their life? They enable fear to become stronger. If you avoid it, you're strengthening it. Allow it to paralyze you. When you avoid it and it becomes stronger, what can it do? It can paralyze you. And so then what's the byproduct of all of that? I refuse to admit that I have any fear. I'm okay. I'm just not at a good place in my life. The place you are in your life at this moment is the result of the choices that you have made. If that choice is about facing your life with honesty and not allowing fear to overwhelm you, you can go forward. But if fear overwhelms you and you can't admit to the fear that you have, you are trapped. And I tell you, that's a self-destructive trap. What makes fear negative is the internal box of emotions you attach it to. You see, that emotion is inside you. And if that fear is paralyzing you, then you're standing in a box that you can't see your way out of. Oh, you may try, you may seek, but when that negative fear owns you, doubt is so strong, worry is so overwhelming, uncertainty is so huge, you can't see your way getting out of that box. Fear is a byproduct of yesterday. And I hope you can understand this, because this is what makes fear such an enemy. It's what you bring to today from yesterday. Anything that you have not resolved, any old tapes that have damaged your belief, your trust, your faith in yourself, any old scripts that you're living that other people have given you because they wanted control of your life. All of those are byproducts of fear. People ask me all the time, Richard, when am I ever going to get beyond this? When you take from yesterday, not the fear, but the growth. Every situation, every event that you've ever been through in your life has an element of growth to it. But at the same time, it has an element of negative fear to it. So I'm going to choose one of those two as my definition of what that event has meant to my life. If I choose positive fear, if I choose the positive, yes, there's going to be fear that goes with it, but I can control that. But if I choose the negative fear, and I won't face it, I won't go back and learn from it, then I remain a hostage to that negative fear. You see, positive fear has a powerful place in your life. Now, this morning I added another slide, and this slide becomes important because it defines positive fear. Look at this. Positive fear is expressed through concern. Look at that carefully. Positive fear is expressed through concern. Now, let me give you a little bit of what I'm talking about here. Concern is you coming from your thinking down. It's you trying to understand what this event can mean to your life. It's about you being able to define this decision that's in front of you. And that concern uses your mind to think your way through it. Where, what does negative fear do? You try to feel your way through it. And folks, there's a huge difference between thinking your way through a situation and feeling your way through a situation. When I'm thinking my way through the situation, I emotionally slow down. When I'm trying to feel my way through a situation, I emotionally speed up. And the difference between those two is control. When I slow down and examine a situation from concern, the pace of my life is enabling me to see everything around me. When I am examining a situation in my life from negative fear, I speed up. And when I speed up, I don't see the lessons that are there for me to learn. Does that make sense? So, what does positive fear offer your life? Lessons you can learn from. I slow down. My pace slows down. I look at what's in front of me and I'm concerned about it, but because I'm thinking through it, I can find the positive answers. Internal strength. Let me tell you something. Concern is a very important part of life because it slows the pace down so that you can examine what this means to your life. Foundation of belief, trust, and faith is increased. Energy is attached to positive emotions. And it allows me to have a sense of calmness. And when you're calm, you're stronger, right? It allows me to have clarity. And when you're clear, you're stronger, are you not? It allows me to have confidence in me. And with confidence, I become stronger. So in positive fear expressed through concern, what am I? I'm slowing things down. I'm strengthening my belief, my trust, and my faith within me. And I'm looking for the step that will take me toward growth. Now, negative fear steals from you. And what does it steal from your life? Lessons to build on. Listen, if I'm running faster because my negative fear has emotionally allowed me to speed up, I'm going to run by the lessons that are there for me to use for growth. Internal doubts. Now, if you got the study guide, you need to change the word. It's internal doubts. Negative fear steals from your life. Internal doubts come to your life. You don't have the confidence. You don't have the strength. You're doubting yourself. And so when I increase the doubts, I strengthen the fear. Future seen through doubt, worry, and uncertainty, you're paralyzed. When you're standing in today, looking toward tomorrow, and you're filled with doubt, worry, and uncertainty, you're paralyzed. Energy that is positive. Negative fear steals energy that is positive. It turns Richard into Ricky. It makes everything look overwhelming. It causes me to doubt. It causes me to worry. It causes me to feel uncertain. And so Ricky wins. So Ricky becomes stronger and Richard becomes weaker. Fear may come and go, but it's always present in your life. Folks, there are going to be days when fear is going to be there, but it's not controlling you. And those are days you feel good. And those are days that it's easier to make decisions. And in those moments, you celebrate. But let me tell you how cunning Ricky is in Richard's life. He'll allow him to feel confident. He'll allow him to believe and trust and have faith in himself. But Ricky is still there. He's this sitting in the shadows, waiting for that moment when there's a choice in front of you. And yes, you're concerned about making that choice. But at that moment, what's going to happen? Ricky's going to run in. And he's going to ask you a series of questions based upon where you've been and what you haven't completed. And those questions are about taking away your calmness and filling it with doubt, taking away your clarity and putting worry in its place, removing your confidence and making you feel uncertain. I can't say this to you strong enough. Fear is one of the most powerful enemies you have in your life. And when fear is negative, it closes the door to the positive aspects of life. So I need for you to understand with me 6 fears that are a permanent part of your life. Please look at the words that are there. 6 fears that are a permanent part of your life. Now, from the day you're born to the day you die, you will live with 6 fears that continue to make your life challenging. One of those 6 fears is your number one fear. If you can learn, if you can find your number one fear and confront it, you can take away the negative effect it has on your life. Folks, if you control your number one fear, you can manage the other 5. But if you don't face it, you give the other 5 increasing control over your life. So you ready? 6 fears that you are going to live with from the day you're born to the day you die. Number 1, the fear of the unknown. You think this is not big? This fear is you not having trust in yourself. It's you standing in an emotional jungle without any idea of what to do. Been there? It's the result of doubt, worry, and uncertainty having control of your being. You ever stood at the point of decision? And you're standing on the edge of that emotional jungle. And you start to doubt yourself. You start to worry about what this decision will mean to your life. And you begin to feel so uncertain about making this decision. So what do? You sit down and you give this fear of the unknown control of your life. So what happens when this fear is strong? You find reasons not to challenge your world of sameness. You enlist the help of other negative fears to paralyze. Always look to yesterday as a point of a reason why you can't do this, why you should not step into the unknown. And then you refuse to believe there's a better life for you. You know how many times I've had people tell me, well, this is just the way my life was meant to be. That's not true. You are exactly in your life where you want to be. Every decision you make defines whether you believe in yourself or you doubt yourself. It defines whether Richard is going to be that risk taker and see the unknown as adventure, or Ricky is going to say, man, you shouldn't go there. You don't know what's going to happen if you make this decision. So maybe you need to think about it a little bit. Fear number 2, the fear of abandonment. This fear is the result of you not seeing yourself as someone of value. It convinces, that's a strong word. It convinces you to stay where you are, even though you know this is not the place for you. You see, being alone is more frightening than leaving where you know you don't belong. You know how many times I've seen this in people? You know how many times I've heard, I know this is not the right place for me. I know that this is killing me from the inside. I know I need to get out of there. But Richard, staying here gives me security, but it does not give you security. It takes security from your life. When this fear is strong, what does it do? It finds a reason to make a wrong a right. You ever done that? You ever known you were in the wrong place, but because of this fear of abandonment, this fear of being alone, you made the decision to stay there? Everybody will at some point leave you. I heard this over and over again in the counseling room. I hear it over and over again from people. Richard, at some point, everybody's going to leave me. And I'm going to be all alone. So why shouldn't I stay where I am? I know it's not the best for me. So who's in control here? Richard or Ricky? When Ricky convinces you that a wrong is a right, or when Ricky convinces you that you need to stay here because you don't want to be by yourself, you're trapped. So what happens? It allows others to control you. Do you think there are people out there who know how to play with you emotionally? Do you think there are people out there who know that you don't believe in yourself? And do you think they ever use that against you to control you? Resistance tied to the fear of the unknown. But Richard, if I leave, where am I going to go? Richard, if I make this decision that I know I need to make for my life, what's my life going to look like? Do you understand how easy it is to justify fear and giving it control of your life? Number 3, the fear of failure. Society has made failure a negative experience. Would you agree with that? It becomes the opposite of success. Reality is, failure is simply an option that didn't work. Without this understanding, failure becomes a negative definition of who you see yourself as. Truth is, without failure, there is no success. Folks, it's within failure that you learn life's lessons. Remember I told you that all emotions travel in threes? You see, we teach success and failure. But there is a third part of this. It's success, it's failure, and it's defeat. If you've been around me, you know my definition of failure. Failure is simply fertilizer. What's the purpose of fertilizer? It's to enrich. It's to bring nutrients to the soil. It's to allow something to grow. And every time you fail, there's the opportunity to growth. Every time you get up, that's success. But if you stay there, that's defeat. Every time life knocks you down, there is a lesson that is there that will allow you to get up stronger. When this fear is strong, what happens? Feelings are guided by I can't. Everything looks bigger than it really is. Mountains out of molehills. Allows the unknown to gain strength. Resistance comes from a wrong understanding. I guess this is all I was meant to be. I'm never going to be successful. Every time I try to do something, I get knocked down. Well, that ought to be you taking a breath and looking at how you're making your decisions. When I learn about me and what I do that allows me to be knocked down, I can stop getting knocked down. But if I always look at as I guess this is what my life was meant to be, what happens? I bring defeat into my life. Number 4, the fear of rejection. This fear is a result of one not believing in self. They see life through negative emotions that make them feel that they're not likable. You ever met that person? That they're not lovable. Met that person? Or they're never good enough. So what happens? I take what I feel and I demonstrate that through my behavior. So if I think I'm not likable, I project that. If I think I'm not lovable, I project that. If I project I'm never good enough, that's what people learn about me. People learn about you through the demonstrations of your behavior. And by the way, no one can reject another person. Rejection is not what someone does to you. It's what you tell people to do with you. It's you telling people how to treat you. When this fear is strong, it forces others away from your life. People who want to be a part of your life. People who want to be a positive influence in your life. Because you live with this pushing people away, they soon will walk away. And forces the fear of abandonment. addresses life through self-sabotaging behaviors, refuses to see the good in their life. Do you think there's good in every day of life? I do. Because I believe that every day presents you with lessons. And when your pace is right and you're living from life from concern, not fear, you will pause and examine what is brought to your life. And in there, you will find a lesson that makes you stronger. But when you don't love, like, or accept yourself, you move really fast emotionally. And you can't see the good that is always present in your life. The fear of loss. Everything in life has a price tag. The price tag is a definition of what you really want for your life. The bigger the personal price tag, the more your foundation of belief, trust, and faith in yourself must be. When you struggle with this fear, you strengthen the fear of the unknown and the fear of failure. So if the fear of the unknown comes in, price tag looks too big. If the fear of failure comes in, I don't think I can do this. When this fear is strong, you find yourself struggling with yourself. Why? Because I'm in the battle between being calm, being clear, and being confident, and one who is doubting, worrying, and feeling uncertain. Every decision seems like a wrong decision. Why? You don't trust yourself. How can you trust yourself when you're allowing doubt, worry, and uncertainty to be the ultimate part of your life? You'll never grow when Ricky is in control. Only when you trust and believe in yourself enough to let Richard have control of your life. The agenda goes south. All the good you talk about wanting with your life, you make it impossible through the negative behaviors you bring to your life, all because you're giving the fear of loss control. Resistance is tied to the fear of failure. Think these two become powerful when the fear of loss and the fear of failure come together? The price tag will always look overwhelming. And then the fear of success. What you believe about yourself creates the behavior you bring to your life. When your behavior is strong, you see your success as something you are creating and something you deserve. When your behaviors are negative, you see success as something you wish you could have, but you don't believe you deserve it. Success is a result, not a happening. If you feel you don't deserve success, you will turn every opportunity into an obstacle. Did you hear me say that? When you feel you don't deserve success, you will turn opportunities into obstacles. And you'll never find the success that awaits you. When this fear is strong, you find reasons why you can't. You enlist others who live in a world of self-defeat, and every day they bring you negative messages to hold you as their hostage. Addresses life from what isn't happening. Reasons, blame, and excuses guide their view of life. Fear is real. It is a natural part of life. If you don't understand your number one fear, you will fight with all six. And I promise you, one of those six is the number one thing in your life that holds you hostage. If you can be honest with yourself, if you can find your life's connection to the number one fear and confront it and face it, you can learn to control it. And as you control it, you diminish the power of the other five. So I want to suggest to you that there are 5 steps to controlling your fears. Now, there's an order to them. There's a path that goes with every decision you make. That path is designed to either hold you as a hostage and keep you paralyzed, or free you to have the life God placed you on this earth to have. Fear is a natural part of life. It'll be with you from the day you're born to the day you die. When it's negative, it holds you as a hostage. You become a prisoner in your own life. Ricky is the warden of your life. Ricky makes the decisions. Ricky tells you what you will do. But when the fear is positive, it frees you to be a pioneer designed to look, to learn, and to move forward. Richard says we can. Richard says I will. Richard says there's nothing here to fear. Yes, we need to be concerned, and that concern will slow our pace down and allow us to see with greater clarity. But we must not allow fear to become the process for making our decision. Because we must believe, trust, and have faith in ourselves. 5 steps to controlling your fears. Number 1, face the fact you live with fear. That's simple but complex. Everything must start here. You can't control what you can't admit to. Listen to that. You can't control what you can't admit to. Fear is a part of life. And when you admit you have fears that you struggle with, you then become open to learning to control those fears. But none of that is possible if you can't face the fact that you live with fears. So when you accept this and you bring this to your life, what power does this step bring to your life? Facing your fear can strengthen you. Why? Because you're learning that fear is real. You're learning that fear is a natural part of life. You're learning that you can't live without fear, but you can control it. Emotions can be slowed down. Hey, why am I running away from something I can't run away from? Maybe what I need to do here is slow down and face the fact that I have fears. Admitting the fear takes some of the fear away. Why? Because I'm allowing myself to understand I will always have fears. But I don't always have to give them control of my life. So when I look down and I look around and I see my life, I understand the fears. It will take some of the fear away from facing it. Responding is mind down. Folks, you either live from your emotions up, which causes you to react, or your mind down, which allows you to respond. When you face the fact that you live with fear, you allow your mind to help you discover your fear, face your fear, and learn to control your fear. Step number 2, examine what that fear is saying to your life. You're always talking to yourself. You do this. You have both internal and external conversations with yourself. When you talk to yourself, you either do it internally or out loud. You got to understand why the fear is coming at you at this moment. What triggered it? When you know the triggers, you're prepared to deal with it. Now, remember what we said? All fear comes from yesterday. And we walk into situations that remind us of a place in our life where fear overwhelmed us. And so what do? We take this experience and we connect it to that experience in yesterday. And because we've never resolved that, we've never faced it. That negative fear that's there because we never faced and learned the lesson overwhelms us. So anytime you're facing the fear in your life, where's it coming from? What's it saying to you? And if we can slow down and face the fear, know why the fear is there, know what it's doing to our life, we can learn to control the fear in our life. So what's the power that this step brings to your life? Forces you to slow down and feel what's happening. Why am I feeling this way at this moment? What is this connected to from my yesterday that I haven't dealt with? Which then enhances your ability to control it. If I understand where this fear is coming from, and I understand the trigger that's causing me to deal with this today, then I can slow down, look at it, understand why it's here right now, and take away its ability to control me. It allows your mind to be part of the process. You see, when I start to examine the triggers, my mind kicks in and says, here's what is happening. And folks, your mind is so smart. Your mind is all about resolution. And by the way, your mind doesn't know fear. It understands growth. Where confusion comes in is when your emotions are stronger than your mind and you allow your emotions to take over your thinking and you're living from your emotions up and you're shutting your mind out. When you allow your mind to be part of what's happening in your life, your mind will always show you a pathway to resolution. But when you shut your mind out, your emotions will paralyze you. Reinforces the fact you can control this fear. If I understand the triggers, if I understand what is it out of my yesterday that is affecting my today, and I'm willing to face it and learn from it, I can control this fear. Number 3, allow yourself to feel fear. Does that sound strange? This is very important. Since fear is a natural part of life, when you deny its experience and its existence in your life, you only strengthen the negative hold it has on you. Contrary to popular belief, you are human. Fear is a natural part of being human. Feel the fear and face the fear in order to understand the fear you are feeling. Because fear is an emotion. And emotions are about feelings. You've got to allow yourself to feel that fear in your life. You can't avoid it. You can't run from it. You can't hide from it. It's going to be there. So slow down. Feel the fear. Understand where it's coming from. And face the fact that you want to take away this fear's ability to own you. What does this step bring to your life? It faces the fear head on. Doesn't run away from it. Energy can be there to confront it. Why? Because when I'm making my mind a part of this, and I'm living from my mind down, not my emotions up, I understand that there are lessons that fear can teach me. So my mind is concerned about what's happening. But my mind will always point me toward resolution. Allows you to know why it's there. I have to feel something in order to understand. So I feel it, but I allow my mind to help me understand where this fear is coming from. You respond rather than react. The difference between those two sometimes is your pace. The faster your pace, the more you react. The slower your pace, the more you give yourself permission to respond. Number 4, reach out to others who have learned to control their fear. You know how many times I've heard this? I bet you've never heard this before. I think, 1,000 times I've never heard this before. Or you know how many people feel that they're the only ones going through this? You are not alone in struggling with fear. It's a part of every person you know. Every person you know has fears. Every person you know at some point, at some place, at some time is going to struggle with fear. So what do? I reach out to people who I know have gone through the same thing I'm going through, but have moved beyond it. Now, I'm not going to reach out to people who have gone through what I'm going through and are still trapped there. I'm going to reach out to people who I know have gone through what I'm going through, and they've learned to control it and move beyond it. You learn from them. And folks, I promise you again, they're there. They're around your life. You just have to seek them out. It's a sad thought, but I'm going to tell you it's true. Most people surround themselves with others who give them permission to stay where they are, rather than people who can help them move beyond what has happened. That's the difference between Ricky and Richard. Richard wants to move on. Richard's committed to moving on. Richard knows he's not an island. Richard knows he needs help. So he slows down and he looks and he listens and he sees and finds those people who have stood where he is right now, but have gone forward. And Richard reaches out to them. While Ricky says, man, this is just the way life is going to be. There is no way out of this. So you just need to accept what is and get on with living. Ricky is not about creating life. Ricky is about creating existence. The power this step brings to your life, you find out you're not alone. I tell you, there's strength in that. When you feel that you're all alone in this, it's emotionally overwhelming. But when you figure out you're not alone, and that there are people who have been where you are, and they've challenged the fear, they've faced it, they've controlled it, they're moving on with their life. Encouragement. How important is encouragement? When you're trapped, when you're paralyzed, when negative fear is owning you, how important is it to have people around your life who trust, who believe, who have faith in you, and who are there to hug you, to hold your hand, to give you direction, and to help you learn to trust yourself? They're never going to do it for you, but because they have worked through it, they bring a different level of understanding. It aligns you with others who have been where you are. I'll tell you again, no matter what the fear is in your life, you're not alone. Because from the day you die, from the day you live and born to the day you die, there's fear. And that's everyone. Reassures you you can control your fear. I tell you what, there's energy in being around people who have stood where you're standing, but today are standing beyond where you are because they've learned to control the fear in their life by increasing their belief, their trust, their faith in themselves. And by reaching out their hand to others who can become an encouragement to them and who are there and are willing to help them. And then number 5, stay strong. Don't run from fear. Please, please, please gather this. You can't run away from fear. You just can't do it. It's an emotion. It goes everywhere you go. Slow down. Take a deep breath. Admit that fear is present and commit to finding your way through it. Only when you face fear can you learn to control it. So if I stay strong and I don't run away from fear, what power does this bring to my life? For it becomes your marching orders. I am not going to allow fear to own me. Ricky, I am not going to listen to you. Ricky, you got to go away because I want to take my life forward. And you're not going to trap me in this hostage-taking situation. You're not going to lock me away from becoming and having the life that I want to have. Emotionally slows you down. Do you know that when you stop emotionally trying to run away and you slow down, your mind comes in and says, I can help you. We can find the pathway forward. Address the moment the fear attacks you. When you feel the fear, address the fear. When you feel the fear increasing, stop, slow down. Look at the situation you're standing in. Know where this situation is from in your yesterday. And commit to not allowing this moment in your life to be a repeat of a yesterday that made you a hostage. Respond with a spirit of resolution. It's not about I can. It's about I will. I will control my life. I will allow to be the entity of me that puts me in a cell controlled by fear and won't allow me to experience living because I'm existing in a fear that I've agreed to. I'm going to listen to Richard. And Richard's going to show me a pathway. Because Richard is not going to look backwards, he's going to look forward. And he's going to see those people around his life who are there as a part of encouragement, as an example, as an illustration that fear does not have to control my life. Stay strong. Don't run from your fear. There's so much more to this. And I'd like to offer you an opportunity. My book, I Need a Life, goes into real great detail about the 6 fears that I mentioned to you. It shows you why we succumb to these fears. And it shows you how to not allow these fears to control your life. The book retails for $14.95, but here's my offer to you today. $8.95. All you have to do is go to my website, richardflint.com/shop. And just scroll down and you'll see this book and you'll see the $8.95 price. I challenge you. Folks, you either live your life in frustration or you live your life in fulfillment. And the difference between those two is what place does fear have in your life? It's always going to be in your life. It's going to be positive. It's going to be negative. You're going to make the choice. Let me help you. Let me help you. I want to remind you of my leadership retreat that's coming up May 15 through 19 in Santa Fe, New Mexico. 20 people gathering together to teach each other, to learn from each other, to share with each other life's experiences, and understand the in-depth meaning of being a leader. Most people have a title, but they don't have an understanding. And every day we're going to take 3 terms that are a part of learning the responsibility, learning what it means to be a leader, and to strengthen ourselves so that we become exceptional at being the leader. 20 people. Our deadline for registration is April 15th. All you need to know is right there on my website, richardflint.com. I challenge you. If you're a person who wants to have a presence that is present when you're not present, you'll understand that's all about you being a leader, providing leadership because you're leading. Our webinar next month, May 9th, again at 10 a.m. And my theme is going to be You Are a Champion. I believe there's so many people who miss what they can do with their life because they don't have that championship spirit. So we're going to talk about how do we turn that champion spirit loose within you. May 9th, 10 a.m. So here's our fully awake. Fear is real. The part of fear you find yourself dealing with comes from the emotions you attach to the fear. When your fear becomes a positive moment and is expressed through concern, you can see the good it's offering you. But when the fear creates a negative moment, you will find yourself struggling rather than understanding. There's a positive in every moment of fear. Slow down. Breathe and find what you can learn from this moment of fear. You can control the fear in your life. I can't do it for you. You're the only one. Now, as I ask you at the end of every one of these webinars, I'd like to know what you think. I'd like to hear your takeaways from what we've talked about today. If there are questions you have inside you that you didn't find the answer to today, email them to me at richard@richardflint.com. richard@richardflint.com. I want to know your takeaways. I want to know what you experienced today that will help you learn to control your fear. And together, let's work to improve your life. You improve your life when you learn to control your fears. Thank you for spending this time with me. I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to being with you again next month as we talk about You Are a Champion. See you then.